Okay, so the frog build is officially done, or the toad build, I should say. I am done with the toad build. I'm not done playing it. I'm done making it. So I'm gonna show some gameplay first, and then we'll get into the guide. We got 200% delirium. Boss is done. Map is done. Let's go over the build. So I'm gonna start with the gear. Some mandatory pieces. You're gonna need a sun splinter with at least 7 plus the skills on it. It can be any of the three. As long as it equals out to 7, you're good. You're gonna need a +5 to any skill uh, wand. So to give you an example, you could have one with like +5 to cold spells, +5 to fire spells, +5 to lightning, or you could have +5 to all spells like I have here. Whatever you want to get, it's up to you. Now it cannot be chaos or physical. If it's chaos or physical, it will not work. It needs to be one of the ones I just said. And it needs to be +5. So if you get one with +6, that's even better. If you get one with +6 on the wand, +5 plus the rune, then you only need +6 on the splinter. You're going to want a vertex with +4, and you are not going to want a corrupted plus level 21 gem because the +1 from the corruption does not actually affect Oldre's Undoing or Decaying Hex or Impending Doom. It only affects the skill itself, which would be Elemental Weakness. So you do not want a +21 skill gem for Elemental Weakness. You want one that's +20. And then you get +1 by Cold Mastery. I put Cold Mastery in here. You can put any of the mastery skills that work with Elemental Weakness. After that, you want a Kael'thas Heart with 15% of damage is taken from mana before life. This is very important. That 15% of damage is taken from mana before life is very important. That's going to be a lot of your tankiness. That's basically 15% damage negated. You want to Defiance of Destiny with at least 35% of missing life before being hit by an enemy recovered. If you can get one with higher than that, I recommend trying to get one with 40%. I do not have that because they're very expensive. And then I allocate unbending because we're life stackers, so you need as much life on the tree as we can get, and unbending is very nice for that. I would have an anoint on that on the helmet, but they're very expensive. If you can get an anoint on the helmet, I'll tell you exactly which one to get. Get Behemoth. Get Behemoth. That's 3% increased life right there. And try to get a Defiance of Destiny with a little more life than I have. 7% is not a good amount. You want one with at least like 10 to 12%. Originally, I did have two of these life rings, but I ended up having to switch one out for resistances. But the mana also helps because mana scales your damage up. You're going to want to use Windscream. Windscream is not required, but it speeds up your damage very fast. It makes your damage happen instantaneously. Without Windscream, you're going to be waiting around a little bit. Get a good wand. That goes without saying, to be honest. A good belt for life. Try to get one with as much life as possible. For the three rares, get as much life, strength, mana, and resistances as possible. Or four rares, I should say. For the charms, you just want to get charms that are going to negate damage over time, because damage over time is a huge killer for this build. So you do not want you want to get one with immunity to ignite, immunity to bleeding, and immunity to poison. All right, now let's go over the tree and the jewels. You want to come up here, then you want to get these three. You want to get critical overload, including all these around it. This build does utilize crit and critical damage bonus, so that's why we're stacking a lot of crit. You want to loop around here and get ruined. Heart of the Well. This is very important as well. You want a Heart of the Well with damage is taken from mana before life. Preferably 3%, but 2% is fine. You want to get the +1 to level of all cold skills. This is very important. That allows us to get +40 or +40. That allows us to get level 40 elemental weakness. You want to get dark entries. Why do you want to get dark entries? Well, you don't really need it, but it's nice for despair. You want to get Whispers of Doom so you can apply despair and elemental weakness onto your enemies. You want to get Ingenuity because we do have to get a little bit of dex on the tree for the Sun Splinter, so you definitely want to get Ingenuity. Controlling Magic, including these two nodes next to it for the critical damage bonus to spells. Grand Spectrum Ruby, Pure Chaos, Careful Assassin, and then you come down here, you get Throat Seeker, more life, Chakra of Life, Prism of Belief, very important. At least +2 to level of all elemental weakness skills. Alright, so now we're going back to this point in the tree. You want to get Potent Incantation. You want to come down here and get Lingering Horror. You want to get Critical Exploit. Then you want to loop down here, get Moment of Truth. And then you want to get all these crit nodes here. So True Strike for the Jugular and Deadly Force. And then another Grand Spectrum Ruby. Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm only trying to fit in 2 Grand Spectrum Rubies, but hopefully I'm able to level up more. And by the time I get to a higher level, I can get this jewel socket right here and get a 3rd Grand Spectrum Ruby. But at this point in the game, I'm only worried about having 2. Because the Heart of the Well and the Prism of Belief just give us too much damage at the moment. For the supports on Elemental Weakness is going to be your main damage dealer, and you're gonna use Despair every now and then to curse enemies' Chaos resistance. But for Elemental Weakness, you want Cold Mastery or any of the Elemental Mastery supports. Impending Doom, Decaying Hex, Efficiency 2, and Goldre's Undoing. For Despair, you just want Chaos Mastery, Magnified Area 2, Zenith 2, Efficiency 2, and Impending Doom. Now, why do we use Impending Doom on Despair? The reason we use Impending Doom on Despair is so we can use Zenith 2. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to put this in here. And I'll prove that right now. As you can see, we cannot put it in there. So that is the only reason we use Impending Doom a second time. And that's it. That's the build. I'll go over the potions. You want a Lavianga Spirits, very important. Try and make sure it recovers as much mana every 2 seconds as possible. Really, you want one with 60, even higher than that if you can get it. But mine only has 59. They're very annoying to shop for. For the life flask, you want increased amount recovered, and that's about it. As long as you can get increased amount recovered, you're good. Try and get one with 2,000 life recovered though, over 3 seconds. Mine only has 1,536. And that's it. That's the build. Very quick, very concise, very easy to put together, kind of expensive. It's not too expensive given other builds I've tried in the past. I highly recommend it if you just want to play something fun. It's a little on the slower side, but it can get everything done. The only thing you might struggle with a little bit are grand expeditions with 10 or more runes. Like a 10 or more rune grand expedition is going to be a little on the rough side. You might be able to do it, you might not. And really that comes down to the tankiness, if I'm being completely honest. It does not come down to the damage. The damage is good enough to do it. The tankiness just isn't quite there, in my opinion. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching.